Alright, second kind of response video to the comments in the infamous at this point video mixing without a limiter on. If you missed the video and if you missed the first video response, I'll put the links in the info box down below or here somewhere. Before we start, please check the info box down below for my mixing courses on Pro Mix Academy, free plugins, special discounts and offers, and of course if you want to support the channel, but most important, if you really want to learn how to mix and master professionally, click the join button down here, become a MixBus TV member and access the already big and always growing library of full mixing courses, start to finish, mastering courses on so many different genres, special videos, and a lot more. And if you missed the biggest event of the year, a remix contest for my artist Bella Kelly's new single, Heartbreak Motel, is up and running, and there's still time with over $30,000 in prizes between plugins and hardware. Alright, in that video, which was an excerpt from a live stream I did on, I think, Instagram, I was responding to someone asking, do you mix and print your mix with a limiter on? My answer was no. I explained why, and 99% of the people agree with me on the video and thank me for explaining it. But this is the internet. It always happens. Someone had to argue it. And in the first video response, we responded to the people that were saying, oh, that XX engineer use a limiter on the 2 bus. And I explained there why that it makes very little sense. But in this video, I'm gonna respond to the second set of comments, which was, there are no rules.
There are no rules.
Which is on one hand funny and on the other hand a little bit irritating when people say that. Because first of all, yes, there are rules. There are rules and the rules are there for a fucking reason.
What?
That does not mean that one cannot break them here and there and in specific cases. But my argument is, what rules are you breaking if you don't know them in the first place?
Oh, snap.
Because what I feel is that very, very often, on internet at least, some people hide behind this sentence, there are no rules, this statement, because they don't want to learn the rules, because they don't want to put the effort and the hours and the experience needed to mix or produce music or master or whatever it is. And they just say there are no rules, so they just winging it and they just mess with things until things don't sound as bad as they sounded before. And many times I took the time to actually click the link. You know, when something like this happened, because it happens often. There are no rules, I do this, this and that, and I disregard everything and my stuff sound amazing. Here's the link. And you go listen to how amazing it sounds. And it doesn't sound amazing. And this is a byproduct of the way many people work today, right? In isolation. They work in isolation, they do everything themselves, and they have very little feedback. The little feedback that they have, they probably, their buddies or their friends, and they, you know, they're kind of nice, or maybe they are not. And not everybody can judge a mix. They just maybe like the song and the mix is not bad, so it's passable. But that song would be a lot better with a better mix, right? But they kind of don't want to. Here on this channel, I feel it's kind of my duty to teach what I think it's the best way to do things, the correct way. And I always try to provide a scientific proof when it's possible, or at least an objective data as to why one thing is done in a certain way and not in another. For example, we can talk about 16-bit recording, right? Recording and mixing in 16-bit 44.1. It's proven that if you record the 24-bit and you mix at 48, shit sounds better.
No shit.
So now it can be your taste that you like the lo-fi thing, but even that, it's not the right way to do it. You can process that pristine sound with a lo-fi plugin. The lo-fi plugin and the file will take the processing a lot better if it's a 24-bit, right? So there is also a correct way to do things dirty Instead, sometimes I feel like, oh, there are no rules. I do this and I record with my iPhones and I record with like a shit interface and a shit microphone. And well, yeah, okay, but your stuff would be better if you did things correctly. And the problem is, again, the lack of feedback, because, you know, music used to be a group thing. You know, even for solo artists, they had producers, they had managers, they had other musicians playing with it. They had the recording engineer, the mixing engineer, the master engineer. Everyone was giving a feedback. And this is how the industry standard sound was created by a lot of people, you know, agreeing on something. And of course, there's always going to be someone that thinks that they are special and they can break all the rules and they can do something that nobody else ever did before, which sometimes can be an absolute gem and you're a genius. But I mean, there are not many geniuses around there, and maybe nobody did that thing, not because they didn't think about it, but because it's shit.
It's terrible! It's hardly even music, it just sounds like crap.
You know, maybe they didn't break those rules because it doesn't sound that great, but I like it. Well, then, you know, that's undebatable. If someone likes something, it doesn't matter, but at this point, we need to like assess, what do you make music for yourself, to hear it in yourself and to please yourself, or you would at least want for a handful of people to like it as well. And if you want that number to be big, you kind of have to, you know, do things that people like. That's how successful musicians do, all right? And it doesn't matter then you have to sell your soul to the top 10, all right, to Billboard Sound and do like commercial shit. But there's an in-between, okay? There's always like, there are many alternative independent bands that do crazy sounds that will never be on the mainstream. They, so to speak, break the rules and they have a huge fan base, okay? So everything in context, because a lot of times it happens that people take like one sentence out of my speech out of context, and there's, of course, if you run with it, there's nothing I can do about it. But this is kind of the point of the video. You can't break the rules if you don't know them. And by knowing them, I don't mean you read them. Let's take, for example, the mixing without a limiter on the 2-bus. It's not that that is a rule, first of all. I never said that's a rule. I said, this is how I do it. This is why I don't use a limiter on the 2-bus, and it's provable. I give you a logical explanation as to why. And whether or not it's so important at the end of the day, if you did everything else in a mix, that's debatable. But again, why would you want to do something wrong on purpose when you know that, you know, there's a better way to do it? And again, knowing the rules, it doesn't mean that you hear me saying, oh, I don't mix with limiter on the 2-bus and I advise you to do the same. You don't stop there. If you want to respond to my statement, and you don't have to, but if you feel like you want to respond to my statement and debate it with me, you need to give me as much information and as much proof as I gave to you when I explain you my reasoning, right? And maybe you want to try with them without, because 99.9% of the times, if I say something is because I tried both ways, or all the 15 different ways to do it, and I come up with what for me is the best way. And when I found the best way, when I found the way that it's more pleasing to my ears, I try to understand why. And then I take all this information and I put it on the channel for you guys. I don't wake up in the morning just winging it. And of course, we are talking about professional mixing and mastering and details that count when you do this for a living, when you're serious about your music, right? People that does it just as a hobby, they can do whatever. Because like we said before, it's not that they have an investment in your product and they have to compete with the rest of the world. They don't. So again, everything in context. I mean, unfortunately, we kind of live in a society like that when everybody wants to feel like they worked enough, right? They don't have to put more effort than they did already. And maybe they put just a little bit. And they kind of feel like some mysterious entity has to feel the lack of knowledge and the lack of skills or the lack of experience for them. And if you settle for good enough, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want excellence and greatness, then you need to dig a lot deeper. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with the 20/80 rule, right? So you put 20% of the effort to get 80% of the result. If you're happy with that and you settle for that, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But some people want to put the remaining 80% to get that 20% more, and maybe 21%, and be better than everybody else. So it really depends on what you want to do. What I don't like is the punchline. There are no rules. Like, you discredit everybody that worked the entire life to actually learn, to actually, before us making the rules and explaining the rules to everybody, then everybody learned them. And like I said, maybe some people are geniuses and they can say that and then prove the world that they are geniuses and disregard the rules, not even knowing them, but they are pretty rare, right? And usually when someone says, oh, there are no rules, and then they don't add anything else to it, you go and listen to the result, it's always like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like there were no rules. But anyway, I think this is it for this video. I just wanted to respond to the comment, and I want you guys to comment down below and let me know what you think. If you ever had anyone coming at you with that line and you kind of read through it. This is it for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like, share the video around, check all the links in the info box down below, and if you want to be part of the team that strives for greatness in mix and mastering, click the join button down here, become a MixBuzz TV member. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and see you next time.
You gotta just take a deep breath and give up. Don't, the system is rigged against you. Your hard work and talent will not pay off. That's it. Good night, everybody.